Hi Eric, how are you?
Hi, Beth. I am well. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. First off, congrats on Any Day Now and this being your feature directorial debut.
Thank you.
How does it feel that it's all done and out in the world?
It feels like it's never done, and it's not out in the world enough.
Well, hopefully I can help with spreading the word.
That's why you're here. You're here to get it out into the world. I mean, it's just such a crazy time right now to try to poke through the noise and get your work out into the world. I'm having fun trying the craziest things that you could imagine to do that, and that feels good.
Well, now I'm curious as to what you've tried.
Aha, aha. So the movie is about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum robbery in Boston in 1990. It's the largest robbery that art heist that ever took place outside of World War II. And
Mm.
they took 13 pieces of art, and none of them have been returned, and no suspect has ever been arrested for the crime. So nobody knows anything. So we did this kind of fictional, ours is a fictional fun take on what may have happened. Or at least what one or two or three people might think might have happened. So it's a fun take. So we wanted to have fun in the way that we are getting the movie out into the world. So one thing we did was in March last month, we opened up a gallery in New York City, in the middle of the Arts District, in the middle of Chelsea. We opened up a gallery with 13 stolen pieces of art, and they were all there, and they were beautiful. And we just opened the doors, and we worked with a company called Improv Everywhere, and we filled it with actors. Well, we had some actors. We had actors waiting in line outside. We had guards and gallery directors. And if you walked in and you went up to a guard and you said, "Is this real?" And the guards would say, "That's what they told me." So it was kind of like prompt, and we had an FBI raid in the middle of it, and the FBI came in and they took out one of the paintings of Rembrandt, and there were people there with their cell phones, and it went online and it kind of went crazy on TikTok and Instagram. I think we've had over 25 million views of the FBI raid.
Oh, that.
So that was one crazy stunt. I might do that again. And then the other thing we just started, I made four commercials for the film that aren't the film. So normally when you see a film, it's like a trailer,
Mhm.
uh, and that's all you get. And you get interviews like this, and you get behind the scenes stuff. But it's the movie itself that you're getting out. And um, you know, my idea is that entertainment advertising sucks. So what if we did something else? And we basically created advertisements for the movie that are not the movie. They're not even about the movie. They're not even the premise of the movie. And they lead you to the premise of the movie. And it's about four ghosts of Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Degas, and they meet in the museum at midnight, and they're idiots, and they're trying to solve a crime. And that's not even my movie. So, but it's the ad for the movie. It's like how you would advertise a product. You don't walk around handing Snickers bars to people and get them to taste it. What you do is you come up with a creative campaign to have people kind of buy into it. So it's really, really fun and interesting, and we're getting it out into the world with the same spirit with which we made this film.
That's awesome. I really hope that you do something else because I'm curious as to how you're going to top what you've already done.
Yeah, I was thinking I would do something that costs even less. I'm going to do the opposite. I run the other way. Most people want to do more. I want to do less. I want to have more control over the things that I care about, which are the performances and the dialogue and all that stuff, and spend less on the stuff that people already know, the genre stuff, like like this heist. A lot of the heist in our movie is kind of in the background. And we wanted to put in the foreground like the characters and the relationship and the stuff that we really care about. And that's what we want to see anyway. So, and people know what a heist is. So, how little can you service a story and lean on the other stuff? But, it's somewhere in between independent film and a Hollywood film. It's like I like that space. I like trying things that people say aren't going to work.
Well, I'm very curious as to where you're going to go next with it, for sure. What was it about this story that was like perfect for your directorial debut?
Well, I grew up in Boston and I still live in Boston. And I have worked in Hollywood writing scripts for films, for Hollywood films for a long time, for like 20 plus years. And that's one particular genre. I wanted to pick, it's a particular style and a particular size. And I wanted to pick something that was smaller, that I knew really well, that I could afford, that wasn't, a really big budget thing. So there are two great myths of my lifetime in Boston. One is the Whitey Bulger story, and the other is this Gardner Heist story. And people have already done the Whitey Bulger thing, and it's too serious. It's not fun enough.
Gotcha. Um, did you get to film in the actual museum?
Everybody who lives in Boston and who's been in the Gardner Museum asks that question. How did you get into the Gardner? The answer is it's not actually the Gardner. And, that's the whole point of filmmaking is to try to do a little magic. So we found a place that looked like the Gardner, but was affordable. It's very expensive to shoot in a museum, but we shot in a place where the person who built his home was inspired by the gardener, so he made it look like the gardener. So it was like the perfect place for us.
I mean, I'm not from Boston, so you definitely fooled me.
I like fooling people, I guess. That's the lesson of this interview is I love tricking people, I guess.
It's what keeps it fun.
Playfully.
Um, I was absolutely thrilled to see Paul as Marty. I've been a huge fan of his since CSI Vegas. So when casting, what were you looking for with Marty?
I was looking for Paul.
Oh, perfect.
I wrote this movie with Paul in mind. I really wanted to give him a really big runway because often he's getting roles where he's really, really good in big productions, but he's only in, 10 minutes of it, right? So, because they know he's so good that he can just show up and be great and everybody can rely on him. And he just adds so much life to every moment. But I wanted to give him a nice long runway. I wanted to give him something that he doesn't often get lately, anyway, which is really to stretch his legs, to get his elbows out, and to have fun. So I always had him in mind. We were originally going to shoot this during COVID, and I met with Paul, and we were sitting around my kitchen table, and he's like, "We can't make this movie now because movies get made around kitchen tables like this, and we're all like distancing and we're wearing masks." He's like, "We got to wait for all this to be over, and then we can shoot it." And I was like, "Okay, let's do that." And just like having someone like Paul be with you every day, walking me through this as my first, he was helping me as much as, I was guiding him. It was mutual, but he was like, "Listen, don't worry about this. You don't have to worry about this." It's like, okay, that helped.
That's awesome. And what made Taylor the perfect Steve?
So Taylor, I saw a film that he was in. I think it was called The Wheel on Apple. I saw that. And I was looking for someone, so these characters, are really loosely inspired by people who were, people talked about some various names came up as people who
Mm.
had something to do with the robbery. And there was a guard at the robber. There were several guards actually in the museum. And so when I was thinking of the character of the guard, I really wanted him to be somebody who was um, who could have been cool, but he's doing a few things wrong in his life. Because that was the whole basis. The whole movie is about how Paul Guilfoyle comes along and he's going to manipulate this guard to do what he wants. But at the same time, he's going to make his life better, which is an amazing challenge for an actor. And there aren't many, there's only a handful of people who can do things simultaneously. Plenty of actors can play one, like threatening one moment and then kind the next moment. But there's only a handful that can actually do them at the same time. And you're not sure what they're being, and that is Paul. So if that was the dynamic, if the kid, if the guard wasn't cool or wasn't close to cool, then it wouldn't make sense. Then I wouldn't buy it. You know, just his little movement from where he is to where he lands. And Taylor is the perfect guy because Taylor naturally is actually really cool, but he can play down a little. And we would just mess with him every day. You know, if there was like a handle on a glass that he had to pick up, like a pitcher of glass, I would always move the handle like away from him. We would just constantly throw, and poor guy, but we're constantly trying to make trip him up a little bit so he was just a little uncool. If he would just do a few things differently, then he could be cool. And that was where he was the perfect choice because he can walk the line and you believe it. I believe him both as uncool making bad choices, but could he be cool? The answer is I think he can.
And that kind of really made him relatable. Because I'm just like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I've done stuff like this. Like, especially in the diner with the onions. It's like, no, it's fine. I'll just deal with it. And it's like that like slight awkwardness was just like, oh no, I'm watching myself on screen.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that's the best compliment. Yeah, that's exactly the hope, right? Is it's a relatable character, and Hollywood is mostly about caricatures. And indie films are about real characters. How would you really react in the moment? That was my job, whether I succeeded or failed. My job is to keep an eye on that. What would it really be like to eat a roast beef sandwich in this place and to not want to bother the person there because I just okay, they didn't get my order right, but that's okay.
And then to overcompensate at the end.
Yes, that's right. Yes, woefully.
Um, my absolute favorite part of this entire movie was when Marty and Steve first meet and Albert's in the trunk and Marty just goes, "Don't worry about it." What was your favorite scene?
Oh, that's a great question. What's my favorite scene? Um, yeah, there were so many scenes between Paul and Taylor. I particularly liked, and maybe it's two scenes. That opening scene where they first come in and Paul does a dance around Taylor and just takes over the room. And even when he first walks down, he's just sort of like his body is sort of blocking the camera and he's just the way that Paul owns that scene. And then that afternoon we shot the last scene, which is the opposite, which is Taylor in a totally different place. And we shot the scene differently. It felt like almost like an old west like showdown at an empty bar, and I just liked seeing these actors flip essentially one role and then the other.
No, those were great for sure. Um, why did you title this Any Day Now?
uh y- oh, I have another favorite scene, but
Oh,
but
sorry, go. We could go back to
no, no, no,
that.
I just hit the other one. There was also a moment when Paul is gets out of jail and he's collecting his stuff, right? And
Mhm.
he's getting, because he's been gone for 30 days, and he gets there's like a Ziploc with his necklace in it. And he gets it and he goes, whoa, whoa, wait, wait. Oh, no, 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 it's nothing. And he keeps going. To me, like moments like that, and Paul did a lot of those. Um, when have you ever seen a movie somebody say, hey, wait, oh, no, no, it's nothing and never like explain it. Like that feels so real to me. I know because he
Yeah.
told me that the idea was that he had his chain, but he thinks he couldn't find the cross on it, and he thinks they stole his cross for a second when it's just like that is so wonderful to watch somebody go through that. And he was winding his watch, and he left. He was winding his watch, and why was he winding it? Because he was in jail. When you're in jail, your watch dies. Like Paul is thinking those things, and to watch actors and to watch the two of them interact, that moment is really special for me, and just being like an observer of it. Um, the title "Any Day Now" comes from a song, a Bob Dylan song called "I Shall Be Released," and the guard who was originally tied up in the museum sang that song all night long while he was tied up to calm his nerves. And the lyrics are any day now, I shall be released any day now, any day now. So yes, that's where it came from. It's sort of inspired by the real event. But because we're an independent film, of course we cannot afford Bob Dylan songs. So we use other songs.
No, that's really cool. And yeah, this is a true-ish retelling of the heist. So, what do you want people to leave this film thinking or wondering?
I mean, what I really want them to be thinking about is, is there, are they living life the way is this character living a better life at the end than the beginning? And are we living lives in the way that we really want to be? Are we being as intentional about it as we can? And like Paul says in the movie, Paul said like, and he said it to me, and then I wrote it in this script. But he said, live at the edge of your unknown and get comfortable there. Like that's where you want to be, because I was so nervous. This was my first the first thing I've directed, and he was just like, get comfortable out in that space. So that's really it was a journey to follow that. And in terms of the story itself, you know. I don't think that there's any direct correlation between what happened and what we showed. I mean, there might be some hints of something, and if you find it kind of amusing and clever the way that I thought of it, I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of other ways that it could have happened. But I think this is a probably more entertaining way and vision of it than what probably likely happened, which is really probably drab and miserable and sad. So, yeah, that's just not the way, that's not the version of events that I choose to live in. Maybe in these times, we need a little bit of creative imagining of what life should be like rather than what it actually is. And maybe by doing so, we manifest it.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Um, so now that you have successfully directed your first feature, are you hooked? Can we expect more of this from you?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I want to do it again. A big part of it for me is finding a way for it to find a place in the world. And if it does, that itself would inspire me to do it again. I would find it very hard to make another one not feeling that there was an audience for this. So that's why I'm doing all these crazy marketing things because I'm taking it on myself to create an audience, to build an audience almost person by person for this film, to slowly get people. And not everyone is going to love it, but wherever its people are, it wants to find its people. And that's why I find this to be an inspirational time and a time where we can do a lot because more so than ever, we can connect with our people in a direct way. We don't have to go through necessarily a huge marketing department like, Warner Brothers doesn't have to hold the keys to the kingdom. If people find movies they like or something they like, you can directly find them and you can send them these little messages. And so hopefully they'll receive them, but it can be all over the world. It can be all over the country. It can be wherever. I know there's a small group of people, maybe larger than I think, I hope, that would dig this movie. And my job is to try to find a way for this to find them.
Um, as you go forward in with other projects, do you think that this experience will influence how you approach storytelling?
Yeah, I did a rewrite of a script for a big Hollywood film, um, which would not be something I would direct because it's just not what I'm interested in. But in writing it, I realized after shooting this, I realized a lot more about, oh, that's what a script needs. I always thought a script needed clever dialogue, and I got actors who were really interested in because it's so fun and funny. But now I know better what a director needs to shoot a movie. So I think it informed me what's valuable, what's more valuable and what's not, even though it's been like 20 years. And then that plays into the idea that my mentor has told me, um, and that's the other advice I would give to anybody trying to make a movie or doing anything is find a mentor. And my mentor is Jan Eagleson, and he directed some pretty great movies in the Boston area, and in Hollywood as well. But yes, where was I going? I was going somewhere really cool, but I lost it. You said, "Oh, how has it informed me of what to?" Yes, it's informed kind of what a director would need to make a film. So that was really like valuable to me as a writer and then as a director. Oh yeah. It's fun when people read your scripts and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so fun. I love it. That feels really good." But then when it becomes a movie and it's totally different, instead of being upset about that, I realize why. Because the director needs this, this, and that. So yeah, it's been really informative for me. And oh, that's it. So my mentor always said that the key thing is to define success for yourself. At every stage, you have to do that, or you're going to be disappointed. And, for me, success from the beginning of this project has been, are you learning? Are you learning something new? And that has always been yes. Success is not necessarily making money, making a ton of money. I'd love to make my money back plus a little bit, just enough so that I can make another one. But I might not put that pressure on the world. I might just make one anyway because, you know, I'm not really good at taking no for an answer. I'll just keep going until I get a yes. That's the goal.
And that's fair. That's fair. Um, that is an excellent note to end on, because I think I'm out of time. But thank you so much for chatting with me. I absolutely loved Any Day Now, and I will be spreading the word about it.
Thank you, Beth. We're going to open, I think, May 20th on some online for a bit on Amazon and Apple and all of those places. So that's the place that people can see it if they want to.
Perfect. All right. You have a great rest of your day.
All right, thanks. You too. Oh, and leave a review. That's the other really helpful thing, believe it or not. The algorithm likes reviews. Rotten Tomato and Amazon. If anybody can write a review on those, it actually helps the movie. That's the best way to help my movie, believe it or not. That's my last plug.
I will do that.
Thanks, Beth.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Bye.
Beth.